listeners, we are back and doing another live episode. Of course, it's your pal Ryan, along with my co-host, my pal, your pal, Todd. First off, Todd, happy belated Merry Christmas. How are you doing, and how did Santa treat you this year?
Thanks, Ryan. It's great to be looking you in the eye and seeing when you talk at the same time. Being on the same mic makes everything all the more easy, so it's great that we're in the same place. I'm excited to talk with you on this past week. It was a big week. I crushed it, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, easy, Todd. Yeah, it feels like we're on a date right now. We're very close together. I'm looking passionately into your eyes, and
we're like in a cocoon almost. It's like it's like a wooden box.
Yeah, we're in a wooden box, coming to you live from Bottle Theory in Apex, North Carolina, and drinking on some good beers. We will get to that also in a second. But first, since Christmas just passed, Todd, I would love to know what was your best gift that you got this year?
Yeah, Ryan. Thanks. So I think my best gift was so I got the new Allbirds tree runners. Ooh. They're ultra light. They weigh like a paperclip.
Wow.
Is that not insane?
I'm holding these right now, and truly they feel, it's like the lightest shoe I've ever felt in my life. And they're comfortable.
Oh, they're super comfy. Wow. And the craziest thing about them is the stuffing inside. You know how they put paper inside to like keep the shape? Mm-hmm. It weighed more than the shoe. When I took the paper out, it became like nothing, right? So
that's crazy. That's a great gift.
Yeah, so got those. They're super comfy. My favorite gift that I gave, though, Ryan, because I think giving is more important than receiving.
Well said, Todd.
My favorite gift I gave was to Haley, my wife. I gave her this Instagram ad cube. So it's like this rotating cube that has pictures as you. It's kind of like a Rubik's cube. You like turn it, and it has different pictures as you like turn it.
Yeah.
And so it has like 15 different pictures. It's all of our, when people came to visit us, it has pictures of everyone that we love and care for in 2023. Just all of our favorite events throughout the year. And one of the funniest things about it was that when I went to track the package, it was shipped from Serbia. And so I thought that was interesting. They were like, we promised 3 days shipping. And the first day was Serbia to France. I was like, this isn't going to happen. This is not going to be processed for Christmas. But they were true to their word, and Haley opened it on Christmas.
Wow. Well, on behalf of all of the Serbians listening out there and all of our Serbian Buffalo Boy fans, thank you for stimulating their economy so much, Todd. That sounds like a great gift. Favorite gift that I got this year is what I'm currently wearing.
Looks nice.
Thank you. It's like a light gray Lululemon hoodie. I'm a big.
I knew it was Lululemon.
Yeah, we're a big Lululemon household at the Salkerts. I love hoodies. I love something that's like heavier than just a t-shirt, but lighter than a jacket for those like kind of cold days. Like today, it's 60. It's like a little bit too warm for a jacket, but not, warm enough for just a t-shirt.
It looks great.
And it is so comfortable, Todd. So thank you for
I'm going to have to check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Favorite gift that I gave? I was in France last week, and I went to a second-tier football game for Paris FC, and I got my brother Paris FC football jersey, his first soccer jersey ever. I was surprised at that, but he really liked it. I also got a matching one, and now he's my little football buddy, so that was really fun.
That's amazing, Ryan. So you wouldn't say that your favorite gift that you gave was the free win to David Adler this past week?
Todd, unfortunately, I tried incredibly hard to win that game, and I am still licking my wounds. Congratulations, Adler. We will talk more about your win in a little bit. I was very sad, but honestly, that is probably the greatest gift somebody can give a win in fantasy football, especially at this time of the year. So, yeah, congratulations again to Adler. As we are sitting at Bottle Theory, Todd, of course we both have beers in front of us. I would love to know what you're sipping on.
I got a delectable double IPA out of Vermont by the brewery Foam. Hadn't heard of them before.
Never.
They had high ratings on Untapped. Trying to pad my Untapped stats. I've already forgotten the name of the IPA.
Built to Spill.
Built to Spill. That's That's a motto right there. But no, it's really good, and I'm enjoying it. What about you, Ryan?
Yeah, I got a light lager. It's like a Helles lager from Duchess Ales up in Dutchess County, New York. I feel like I've actually been to this brewery once upon a time. Can't really recall. But it sounds very familiar. Anyway, this beer is called the Ketzer Lager. It's only 4.8%, very drinkable, really delicious. I gave it a 3.75 on Untapped, and I'm really enjoying it. So
Nice.
happy to be enjoying a beer here with you, Todd. And of course, before we get into it, cheers.
Cheers. Before we move on, though, 3.75 for a lager is actually quite impressive. I feel like my average lager rating would be between like a 2.5 and a 3.5. So to get over that 3.5 hump, it must be doing something right.
It really is, Todd. And I feel like this year I've sort of turned a corner and I'm drinking a lot more lagers, drinking a lot more lighter things, as IPAs don't really treat my body as well as they used to.
Fair.
And yeah, I mean, I can't say enough about just a good light lager to start off the day. So anyway, with all that said, how about we recap round 2 of the WPFL playoffs? I think you gave a great introduction there, Todd.
That is a terrible...
Let's start out with the game that I sadly lost to David Adler by almost 20 points. Of course, Adler won 112-92. He is now in the championship, going up against somebody that we will talk about in just a second.
Oh my, Ryan, I just saw that Devontae got you 0.9 points. That has to hurt from one of your top drafted players.
It definitely does, Todd. And I hate to be this guy who's like,
It's okay.
hey, my team just screwed me, otherwise my team is actually good. That's exactly how I feel about my team. All of my guys pretty much sucked. CMC obviously got 22 points. Pretty average day for him, but yeah, Devontae had 1 catch for 4 yards, 0.9 points, awful. Taysom Hill had 2 rushes for 2 yards, 0 receptions, 0.2 points. His second week in a row that he has basically done nothing. Am I a fool for continuing to play him? Perhaps. But yeah, I mean, on the other side of that, DJ Moore only had 3 receptions for 18 yards, 3.3 points. Chicago defense against Arizona, maybe I was expecting too much. They only gave me 4 points. The guy who really showed up was my kicker, Jason Sanders for Miami, 23.7 points. He really performed. Baker Mayfield almost had 20. He had a great game. But yeah, we fell short by 20 points to Adler. And, I mean, he had great performances by Gibbs, who had 22 points against Minnesota. Devonta Smith had 15.9 points against the Giants. Obviously, Hurts went off in a very Hurtsian performance, 23.44 points. I've been saying it all year, Todd. Adler is on an insane winning streak. The winning streak continues. His team is great, and as much as I would have loved to have a three-peat this year, I'm happy that I lost to somebody that I respect, like Adler, and I wish him good luck in the championship.
Yeah, I mean, Gibbs against Minnesota. Minnesota had been allowing basically only less than 1 touchdown per game over the past 4 games, I think. I mean, they had been a lockdown defense, so obviously Lions are pretty good. They kind of look like a fraud half the time and great half the time. It's hard to tell. But 22 points, you know, that's a huge week for Gibbs. Hurts actually did not look good. I mean, he threw that pick 6 to Dory Jackson to almost lose the game, but you know they still pulled it out. I mean, Thielen is on his last leg. I mean, if Adler plays Thielen again, it's not going to be good for him. Trey McBride.
Hold on, Tom. Sorry about that. You don't think Thielen could potentially have a big game against Jacksonville, a defense that, dare I say it, not very good?
Maybe. I disagree with your assessment. I think they've been top 12 defense, if I'm not mistaken, in DVOA. I would have to look at it, but I think they've overall been decent, but not a defense I'm targeting. I could be wrong. I mean, I'm not in the playoffs, so don't trust my opinion.
That is true. And we will come to your game And we will come to your game in just a little bit, Todd. But for now, I guess we should move on to the person who Adler will be playing in the championship game this year. Of course, perhaps unsurprisingly, that is the number one team in WPFL this year. That is return of the Randy, Neil Bullock, who pulled out a 22-point win against Mims, a guy who I was really high on early in the season. For a new owner in the league, Mims has been doing great. He made it to the semifinals. Didn't have enough to go all the way, but he is playing me in the third place game this week. Todd, how did this game go for you? What any stats that really stand out to you?
Well, first of all, Neil, you haven't changed your name in a while. Return of the Randy, I mean, we've come to expect weekly changes for every Randy Bullock roster amendment. So, I don't know. Maybe it's good luck. Maybe it's bad luck. Maybe it's not washing your jersey after you've won 4 games in a row. Who knows? But if that's the case, I hope it keeps working for you. I've got my money on you. I want a new champion. I hope Adler doesn't win again. But in the same breath, I also do, because I don't want Mike to be riding his high horse of long history past where he's won so many championships. I would love for someone else to be like, well, I'm also up there.
Todd, I'm embarrassed to not know this, as I own the trophy and look at it at least once a day. Has Adler won 2 championships or just 1?
It's at least 2, and I think it's 2 back-to-back. If not, I'm pretty sure this is going for his 3rd championship.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Well, that would be a massive win for Adler. I would also be excited about a new champion, especially Neil. He's just had a fantastic season. His team is really good.
Except for his quarterback, which he spent so much on. Patrick Mahomes had the worst Pro Football Focus, caveat, we're not live or die by those ratings, but I think in and of that they're a consistent barometer of performance. Having him be the worst rated quarterback that performed this week, below Nick Mullins, below Brock Purdy, you have to be a little bit worried about that. How was he so bad, Ryan? And I don't think, I've got him in Dynasty, and I'm playing for the first round pick right now.
Yeah, it's been an off year for Mahomes. It just has. It's hard to say about the 7th ranked quarterback in the league, but he really has looked not great at times.
We have to talk about the big waiver pickup, though.
Sure.
Gabe Davis. I cut him. I'm the Gabe Davis truther. I finally cut him because 3 of the last 4 weeks, he had gotten 0 points, Ryan. 0 points.
Yeah, I'm seeing that now. And, of course, he had 21 points, 130 yards off of 4 catches, 1 touchdown. How did he know? Is this just, like, wild luck, or was something...
Desperate.
Yeah, truly desperate.
It's the difference in the game.
Yeah.
If he didn't pick up Gabe... And if Mims had just not played the Colts defense for -3 points, we'd be looking at a different championship matchup.
And if I can just give you a little inside baseball, Todd, for the last 2 weeks, Neil has been privately texting me saying, "Hey, I need a wide receiver. Who would you take for either Moore or Adams?" I didn't want to give up either. Perhaps pretty foolish of me, Todd. Clearly those guys didn't perform for me. And
yeah.
Maybe they would have performed better for Neil. Maybe he's just got the locker room magic, perhaps.
I'm feeling guilty, though, because I put Gabe on the waiver. I thought he was going to be a landmine to explode someone's roster, not to shit all over Jonathan Mims and put him once again in the 3rd place matchup.
Yeah, it is what it is, and we will talk about that 3rd place matchup in just a second. But let's continue, Todd. Our next game was Doug against Forrest. Doug had a great game. He won by 31 points in a game that basically means nothing. Anything that stood out to you there, Todd, besides Purdy having 2.4 fantasy points? You got to feel for Forrest if this game meant anything.
Forrest had to feel great with Breece Hall scoring 37.1 points, which has to be about a third of his actual points on the season at this point.
Just to get the dog out of the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Purdy throwing 4 picks. I mean, that...
Yeah, it really is crazy when you look at Forrest's team, because obviously Purdy didn't perform, but Hall had 37 points, unbelievable. CeeDee Lamb had 22. And then Dallas's defense, who is usually incredibly solid, had 1 point. And then both Doug and Forrest's kickers had 0 points.
That's incredible. What's also really interesting, though, about that, Ryan, is that the Dallas defense was only projected for 4.4 points. So basically, the writing was on the wall, and Forrest said, I don't care because this matchup doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, that is interesting. And he did have San Francisco's defense against Baltimore. They only had 4 points, so that wouldn't have really mattered. But yeah, some interesting choices by Forrest. Maybe he's the clown owner. I mean, again, tough to say about a game that didn't really mean anything. Moving on, it is Hoyle against Nixon. Nixon ended up winning by 6 points. Again, these are some games that don't really matter. Anything that stood out to you in this game, Todd?
Yeah, Nixon got a bunch of points from people that don't matter and won't perform again. I mean, a lot of points from his D, his kicker, Darius Slayton. Pollard only had 4.8 points. That can't feel good for his overall projection against. I think he's playing me this week because I think I have worked my way up to the 7th place matchup.
I would say congratulations, Todd, if that kind of thing mattered. Yeah, one thing to say about Nixon's team, he picked up Darius Slayton just before the Sunday game started, and wow, 16 points from a guy who had been on the waiver wire for a couple weeks. Sometimes you're good, and then sometimes you're just lucky, and Nixon was really lucky.
I still can't believe, though, Ryan, that he has held Christian Watson all season. Christian Watson hasn't done anything outside of basically 2 to 4 games so far, and not anything in the past 4 weeks. So
he's a believer, I guess. But yeah. Anyway, congratulations to Nixon. Moving on, let's talk about your game, Todd. You played Mike Simpson, and your team.
I barely played him.
Well, tell the people about it.
I mean, let's be honest. I had a bye week this week. I posted 140 points, Ryan, against Mike, who limped into this week after tying Nixon for something like 80 points in the prior week. I am leading all the West Park Fantasy League in weeks 15 through 17 points scored so far. My team is crushing it, and I knew we would. If I didn't start the freaking garbage Pittsburgh defense when they had their only negative pointage on the season, I would have been in the playoffs and I would have won both my matchups. And I am bitter about it, Ryan. But my team vindicated me this week. They're trying to give me some dollars back so I can fund next year's fantasy investments. We had Amari Cooper. Thanks, Adler. Thanks for... originally, Adler only offered me Cooper Cup for Charbonnet. And I said, why don't you just throw in Amari Cooper? And he went for it. And now I'm starting him. And I look like a genius. Thank you, Adler. Even though I know you're in the championship, so I don't have anything that I could trump on you on that. But you definitely would be winning if you hadn't made that trade. Ryan, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, incredibly impressive feat. Even without Cooper playing, well, I mean, with Cooper playing, you win, right? But it kind of hurts me because I was actually having conversations with Adler. He was offering me Cooper. I was like, hey, I hate the Browns right now. They have no quarterback. Obviously, this was before Flacco came in and started looking like a 24-year-old again. Yeah, I mean, you just never know how it goes, and sometimes you just get lucky, Todd. I think you got lucky, but yeah, quite a dominant performance. Congratulations on that one.
And, I want to draw the audience's attention to Kyle Pitts. 2 touchdowns in the last 3 weeks. A lot of people have sold him down the river, but he is back.
Okay, we heard it here first. Moving on to the last 2 games of the week, and this is basically battles for the Sacco. An incredible turn of events. Rick, who I believe had the worst record going into the playoffs. Is that true? Maybe it was Jimmy.
I think it was Jimmy.
Okay. Well, Rick was definitely down there. Rick pulls out a stunning victory. by 2 points over AJ, who is now in the Sacco. The game was 87.9 to 85.3, very low scoring. Anything you have to say about this one, Todd?
Yeah. I mean, AJ would have won if Nick Mullins threw only 2 picks on the day instead of 4 picks. If he only picked a quarterback that would not throw for 4 picks on the week. Or if he played the Ravens defense against San Francisco, which no one would have predicted that they would have gotten 4 picks on Purdy as well.
Yeah.
But, there was a lot of what-if scenarios for AJ. I'm sure he's, self-flagellating himself over this miscue, but it's not good. And gosh, how does Rick keep just barely escaping the doldrums? I don't know.
This stat line by Nick Mullins reminds me of like the 90s NFL, where you just had these guys who were just absolute slingers. Almost like a Brett Favre in his later days with the Jets. 411 points, 2 touchdowns, but 4 interceptions. The dude was just throwing the ball yesterday. It doesn't say how many attempts and completions he had on ESPN, but wow, that's just an incredible stat line. I just wanted to just to say that out loud.
And AJ finished 9th on the season in the regular season, so he's about to finish 13th or 14th. Quite the fall. That is, quite the opposite of my ascending finish.
Absolutely. Congratulations once again, Todd. Last game of the week. Jimmy, obviously we had a lot to say about him in the last pod, how he was on just an incredible losing streak, and all of a sudden, maybe we got in his ear, Todd, but his team pulled it out for their man. He won. He beat Dave 110 to 90. Beat Dave by 20 points. Great performance by Fields. Great performance by Olave. And then, of course, Pickens, my boy Todd, going off 33.5 points. I don't think anyone really saw those kind of numbers happening.
No one.
Yeah. So really just incredible stuff. Congratulations to Jimmy. He will not have the Sacco this year. It's up. It's between Dave and AJ. 2 pretty bad teams, especially limping into the end of the season. Any thoughts on this game, Todd?
Yeah, any team that has to start Kevin Harris at RB2 can't be feeling good.
Yeah, Dave played Kevin Harris over Tyler Algier, and I don't think Algier is the best running back, but he's got to be better than Harris, and. To let 15 points sit on your bench, it wouldn't have mattered at the end of the day, but that's a really tough decision by Dave.
Yeah, and bravo, Jimmy, you barely escaped. Did you deserve it? Who knows? Dave, I feel for you. Travis Kelce got you one of his lowest point totals on the season. Dak had a mid-game. Hop had nothing, You've gone through all those injuries with Jordan Addison again this week. It sucks. But, if you don't want to be last, you have to make some waiver moves and show your mettle, Dave.
That's right. Well said, Todd. Moving on, I think it's time to give our championship week predictions. I was thinking about doing it like this, Todd. Let's keep the Sacco and the championship games for last, and let's just go through the games that don't really matter up until my game, the 3rd place game against Mims. So first off, the 11th place game. Again, a game that doesn't really matter, but it is a matchup for the ages. It is Battle of the Twins, Battle of the Brothers, Jimmy versus Mike. It is Tuesday we're recording this, so no waiver wire moves have been made. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of action on that line, but as it sits right now, Mike is projected at 100 points while Jimmy is projected at 91.7. Any thoughts on how this one's going to go, Todd?
If Mike wakes up to his senses and actually starts Love this week, who is a top 10 QB on the season, then it's in his court, but only Mike stands in his way from this victory because Jimmy is not going to win it on his own.
Yeah, I think you're right, Todd. And also, well, good pick by Mike having Jacksonville's defense on his bench. He can take out Washington's defense, who's playing San Francisco. They're going to get destroyed. But Jacksonville against Carolina, even though Carolina had a great offensive performance last week, you got to like that matchup. Yeah, I think Mike's going to win this one. Moving on to the 9th place game, it is Rick versus Hoyle. Again, no moves have been made just yet. Looks like Rick will need a new kicker as Hopkins is out with injury. But as it stands right now, Hoyle is projected to win 108-90. Who do you think is going to win here, Todd?
Yeah, I mean, I don't trust Rick as far as I can throw him, which is not very far. He has too much muscle.
He's a stout dude, yes, absolutely.
So I'm going to go with Hoyle.
Yeah, I agree with you, Todd. I mean, Flacco against the New York Jets defense. Obviously, Flacco's had a great resurgence, but yeah, I think this is when his performance is going to end, unfortunately. The 7th place game, that is your game, Todd. You are playing our Commissioner Nixon. Right now, you are projected to win by 6 points. Again, there could be some movement on that line. What are your keys to victory here?
Yeah, I mean, I think a couple of my key guys have great matchups, and I knew this going into the playoffs, and I was just trying so hard to make it into the playoffs, so I had these matchups. I mean, I think, honestly, Ayuk is just going to shit all over the Commanders. And then, I think David Montgomery is going to have a big game. I think Murray's going to have a big game. Metcalf is going to have a big game. I think I got a lot of guys poised for, a solid matchup this week. And, looking at Nixon's roster, you couldn't feel good about that roster. I mean, Rashee Rice against Cincy, I don't know. Parker Washington hasn't done anything recently. And I think I got it, honestly. And I, more so than that, Ryan, I think my team is going to post a week that solidifies me as a week 15 to 17 champion and earn me $25.
Well, good luck to you, Todd. I don't know who you're going up against. I don't know how close it is. But, yeah, I mean, it's looking good for you. I do think you're going to win. I would like to know if you plan on moving Metcalf to the wide receiver 2 position and taking Cooper out in favor of playing Jalen Warren. Because, again, Cleveland's going up against an insane New York Jets secondary. They're probably going to be all over Cooper, especially after the week he had. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I thought about that earlier today. I mean, Jalen Warren is good for 9 points every week, which is a solid floor. Like, I love having that as a baseline. And if he does that forever, I will never stop drafting him. If I'm going for ceiling, I'm definitely going to leave Cooper in. And I've got Cooper in at wide receiver 2 because he plays on Thursday. So it's a bit of a gamble. I don't love it, but I think I'm going to roll with what I have.
Okay, very good. Our 5th place game, it is a rematch of last week's contest between Forrest and Doug. Of course, Doug won last week by 30 points. Pretty dominant. He is projected to win again. And I think he's gonna win once again.
All right, Ryan. And just to double back on a point you just made, who am I competing for the week 15 through 17 championship? So I currently have 244 points in weeks 15 and 16. You are second after your big week 1 with 221. Adler has 218. Hoyle has 212. Mims has 212. So I have a big lead going into this week. So I need a mid to high ceiling game. If I just get 120, it's sold. It's done.
Okay, well, glad to hear that I'm in second place, Todd. I'm hoping that my team does a little bit better. I will be speaking passionately to them in the locker room before the game, so hopefully we can pull out those 20 points that we need to overcome you. But as far as this Doug and Forrest matchup, who are you going with?
Yeah, I think I've still got Forrest. I've not been a Doug fan the whole year, and that's been my downfall. But I'm gonna stick with it.
Very good. I say we should go into the third place game before we go into the Sacco, as the Sacco is pretty interesting, at least to me. Of course, that is myself against Mims, a guy and a team who I really respect. Right now, I'm projected to win by 6.1 points, but Mims currently doesn't have a tight end. I think there are a couple guys. I think I know who he might be going after. I'm not going to say anymore. But
predict it. Let's hear it.
I will not, Todd.
I mean, he's not listening. Let's be honest.
Well,
it's not going out before waivers.
Other people are listening, and I might be in the mood for a move myself. So I'm not going to say anything. But I mean, Todd, listen. I have to pick my team. We did awful last week. I think we're only going to turn it around. Gotta love Pacheco against Cincinnati. Gotta love McCaffrey against Washington. Oh my God, that could be that could be a 40-point game for my guy. And then I feel like I have two pretty good quarterback matchups. Todd, I would love to get your opinion. Would you start Matt Stafford against the Giants or Baker Mayfield, who's been really solid, against New Orleans?
Easily Stafford. And for what it's worth, Mims, he has to be fragile right now. He has to be broken. He cannot get past this third place curse, if you will. Or, I mean, it'd be nice to always finish third. It looks good overall, but I mean, you're never a winner, and that could not feel good. I mean, he is probably so distraught that he's not even looking at his roster this week or making moves or even trying. Like, he's given up. Like, he is a fractured boy. His mentality, his status, he can't handle the pressure.
Todd, I wish that was true. I have a feeling that it's definitely not true. I feel like he is paying attention and will be making moves. But we'll see. We'll see. I hope I get the victory. Now let's talk about perhaps the most interesting game of the week, unless you're really into the championship. It is, of course, the Sacco, the last place game in WPFL. And it comes down to the Bevy Heatseekers against Herbert, period. Maybe there's another name in that team name. But, of course, it's Dave versus AJ. As things stand right now, Dave is projected to win by 6 points. Todd, how do you think this one's going to go?
I don't know. AJ's name is really aggressive, ending in a period. That was just so unnecessary, honestly. And starting Nick Mullins, even against the Packers, is not a good idea. I can tell you that right now. Will we get a Bijan Robinson that is worth playing? Who knows? Mike Evans has been killer. Saquon, Laporta, I think they have big games. Dave, I don't think his guys have any sort of high ceiling. So I think ultimately it'll be like one or two guys on AJ's roster that have a big week. And I think AJ will call for an early good game Thursday night and then win. And I really don't want AJ to be Sacco because he's just going to bitch out and just get a poster. And that's not very fun. Let's have a real last place punishment, you know?
What would you like to see the last place person do this year? Like, what do you think would be the perfect, most entertaining last place punishment?
I mean, it's obvious. It's what everyone has said. It's a beer mile. It's what I did. Everyone wants to be more like me. It makes sense.
Yeah, a beer mile with better camera work, perhaps. I think that was the only thing that was really missing from yours, Todd. But that was pretty entertaining. I was never really a fan of sitting in a Waffle House for 24 hours. It doesn't really do it for me.
I will say though, originally I was going to have Dave come and do my my video recording of it, but he had some untimely family issues and had to go to Virginia. So I went about it on my own. It wasn't perfect, but I think it was still the best last place punishment that we've had.
Very good, Todd. Well, you won't have to be worrying about that. So
not for a long time.
Okay, we heard it here first. Finally, the WPFL championship for 2023. It is Adler against Neil. Neil right now is projected to win by 7 points, almost 7 points, 6.9. I'm really excited about this one, Todd. I think it could be a high-scoring affair. Who do you think is going to be lifting the trophy?
I want it to be Neil. I'm not confident, though. I mean, at the end of the day, is it not the same person? Adler, Neil. I mean, they've been the same person for almost a decade at this point. maybe Neil is real and he's walking around measuring trees legit, but who's to say at this point? No one's ever seen them in the same room.
Right. Well, except for right, except for many times a couple weeks ago. Great callback on a very old joke though. Todd really enjoyed it. Yeah, I'm also rooting for a new winner. Want to see some new names up on that trophy, and I'm sad that I'll be giving it up. But I will be sure to spend a very intimate week with the trophy while I can.
How do you feel about having to pay to send the trophy to the next winner? Do you feel like that's almost a slight? Do we need to adjust the payout structure so that the prior winner doesn't have to do that?
It's interesting you say that, Todd, and maybe I'm going against the spirit of the WPFL trophy, but I will not be sending it via mail. Neil, of course, lives in an area close to where my parents live. I come up here fairly often. My plan is to give him the trophy, if he wins, of course, give him the trophy in person at some point, maybe Easter.
Can you just give it to him this weekend? Like, before you leave? Because
I was thinking about it, Todd. I wish I had brought the trophy up here. I didn't even think about it. So no, it is currently in Atlanta.
You don't sleep with it. Is that what you're saying?
Todd, I do sleep with it, but not right now. But yeah, if Adler wins, I don't know. I don't know when the next time I'm going to be in New York is. So that I might be forced to send that via mail.
Look, I'll come to New York whenever you want to go. We can all go out to Adler's favorite Russian bar and have some shots. It's a great time, and then we can have Dave come as well and do some pickleback shots and really live it up.
I will not be participating in any pickleback shots, Todd. Pickleball, perhaps. I do love pickleball. But yeah, sending the trophy, it's another discussion. I guess we'll have to figure out who wins in order to figure out what happens. But looks like we're both on the side of Neil. So good luck to both him and Adler, and good luck to everybody else who's playing for a game that matters or a game that doesn't matter. Of course, we're all playing for pride here. And, Todd, as we're sitting here, I can't believe the 2023 WPFL season is coming to an end. I feel like this was one of the best years to date. We had a great mini summit at Nixon's bachelor party in Phoenix a couple weeks ago, rather. And it's been great to do a couple live pods with you.
Likewise.
Obviously great to continue the Buffalo Boys podcast. And just thank you to everyone who listens and for all the support.
And, be looking out, because when the season is over, we are not done. We're going to go into some owner orientations. Adler has, been champing at the bit to get on. We've had some other owners that want to talk. So we have some great content lined up for Q1. Q1's gonna be a good quarter. We'll probably take Q2 and maybe Q3 off, but we'll be back before next season as well. So
yeah, we deserve some time off, Tom.
Yeah.
But I think some more owner orientation, and I think a big post-season pod where we break down all of the draft picks, how those worked, all of the waiver wires. I mean, just a massive. This could be like a 2-hour pod, but I think that could be a lot of fun too. So
it will be,
yeah,
for sure.
All right, everyone. Well, again, good luck this week. Be safe. Enjoy the holidays. And Todd, Happy New Year to you.
Likewise. And remember, don't get Buffalo.